From loudspeakers, coordinators shout instructions from every direction of the hall. Hundreds of students, some with their parents, have gathered here to secure placement into various senior high schools across the country. According to the Ghana Education Service, 165,601 candidates out of the total 538,399 will have to do self-placement because they did not match any of their preferred schools. Some of them have been sharing their frustration.
There's a grading system. We know that from 6 to 9, you get your first class school or A school. Then from the 10 to I think about 16 or so, you have your grade B school. That is what has been given to us. So if my child has gotten 9, she deserves to have her the A school. I mean, it's also good for you to have your child in the A school to compete with people of that class.
I didn't have a school. I graded 31, but I didn't have a school.
You didn't what?
I didn't have a school.
At all?
Yeah.
You were not placed in any school?
No.
Now you want to be placed in a school. Any particular school you would want to go?
Yeah.
What school?
Maybe Kibi Senior High or New Joab Senior High Technique.
To go and do what course?
General Arts.
General Arts.
Yes.
What's your grade?
31.
31.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it be day way it take it. Me, I don't like body because body school still not have money. It they worry you. Your doctor go make basa. Same money not in your pocket, you go worry. So I talk to you, say, make take day. By all means, day, no, say I chop Gary, you need to go chop Gary.
Deputy Coordinator for Free SHS, Nana Afra Sikamensa, has been explaining the process.
Oh, we are doing it for the category B and then the category C schools. You know, those schools are a bit empty, so we need to fill up those empty spaces in those schools. So that is what we are doing here. We have students in the STEM schools. But you know, it's a new schools and it's a new school that are coming on board. So we want to increase enrollment in those schools. That is why we are doing a lot of education on the STEM schools. When you go to Pasimpe, we have a lot of facilities in those schools, but the number is less. So we need to increase enrollment in those schools. That is why we are preaching or we are educating parents on the STEM schools here.
She has also warned parents and the general public against paying money to middlemen to influence the placement process.
The exercise we are doing here is basically free. We are not supposed to pay anything. That is why this year we have tax here, just to signify those who are staff and you are working. So when we see those in tax, they are the people you have to submit your issues to. If anybody meets you outside and tell you that you have to pay something, you shouldn't pay anything to the person. Come to the NAT or don't talk to any security man, any cleaner at the gate, but just come to the Bediakon Hall Street. We have staff here, well trained, and then they will address all their issues for you.
Some of the parents and students who went through the process are hopeful they will secure placement before schools reopen on Monday.
As a self-placement, so we came in. They just told us what to do. The process is very simple. We wrote the schools that we want behind the placement form that we printed out. Then we wrote the schools that we wanted him to go. We wrote it behind the form. We just submitted it. So they said we should give them by Saturday or Sunday. We can go and check it. And probably maybe something good will come out. So it's good. We didn't spend that much time here. Yeah, the process is not bad. Everything is fine.
According to the academic calendar of the Ghana Education Service, all fresh students are expected to report to their various schools on Monday, February 20, 2023. But whether all these people will be placed by then, only time will tell. James Kwesi-Aveji's report read to you.
And that is the status quo. That is the situation there. And this morning on the AM show, we get into that all-important matter. How did we even get here? Officials at the CSSPS have given us those details to grapple with. We'll be telling you about them. But joining us for a conversation on this matter, we have Manche Akwete, who is PRO of the TVET service. Remember, the phone lines will be activated so you can ask every question that you have on your mind when it comes to this process. Manche, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Ben. I hope everything is fine this morning.
How we go do them?
It go be, so.
It go be, eh?
It go be.
When you look at these dynamics where we find ourselves as far as the CSSPS, the CSSPS, I'm a bit shocked because it was supposed to root out a lot of these problems that we are facing. In fact, I have listened to conversations about starting the CSSPS from the standpoint of headmasters who were bombarded around this time of year. Oh, Charlie. And we all went through that system where you would see people would come. In my time, if you didn't make a certain aggregate, you knew that, if you weren't getting distinction 6 to 12, it was pretty problematic, depending on which school you wanted to go to.
Attend a certain type of school.
Exactly.
Yes.
And even when you got that certain type of school, if you wanted to read certain courses, there would be requirements. We tried shifting from that position so that we had a computerized system. The human interface was practically taken away, maybe in rare situations, like the education minister said. If some bigwigs from the Presbyterian front come to you and say, we want X number of people to go to pre-sec, especially when they have done so much. There are ways and means of cutting out of that. But now it's becoming shocking. People are paying anything between 6,000 and 20,000 Ghana cedis to get placements. And the system also seems not to be working. I'm just laying the foundation for the conversation so that when you think of
the foundation.
And recently we also had that situation. I'm a bit curious. Because we know that for placements into grade A schools, only the sector minister and the GES boss can do that. And we traced, they have access. And we traced, in one of our traces, found out that the access had come from the handle of the education minister. We are told that sometimes there are people who handle them, but what exactly happened? And who got what, when, and how? What do you make of the system?
Thank you, Benjamin. A very good morning to your cherished viewers. And those of us who went to secondary school before the CSSPS came can attest to the fact that
we did, so we saw.
Yes, we saw what happened. I remember when I was going to school, I went to school and I don't want to mention the name because it will create a lot of problems. My name was number 3 on the list, Ben.
I see.
When my daddy and I went back home.
Shaki, some shacks like that.
Oh, of course, because my name starts with A, it was arranged alphabetically.
Ayo.
By the time we got back, to pay for the prospectus and the other things, the head told us that my name had been removed because I kept too long coming back. So my space had been taken. So if Ghanaians will be honest with ourselves, we attest to the fact that things have really changed. And the CSSPS, despite the few challenges that has come with this, has come to resolve a lot of the challenges. One of the policies we have put in place, Ben, is the public equity policy. This policy is what gives 30% allocation to our brothers and sisters who attended Saito, like me. You get what I'm saying? Those days, it was extremely difficult for somebody from a public junior high school to get admission to certain type of schools.
Right. Some category A schools.
Some category. It was extremely difficult. It had to be a miracle for you to get there. But the public equity policy, which allocates 30%, so when you go to all the category A schools and you do a proper research, you will see what do you call it? Students from the public schools in the category A schools. So this has come to bring equity. This has come to bring, balance. Yesterday, one gentleman who said now the thing balance, we can see our young people, from the side too also getting access. So this is one of the policies that has come to resolve. Mm-hmm. Now, another policy that was in place, the protocol policy. Like you said earlier, Ben, the secondary schools we have the senior high schools we have in our system are owned by organizations, a few by governments. But even if it's owned by government, it was given by a certain traditional authority. The land on which the schools sit. They are PTAs, they are old students. So these allocations are made for people who matter in these schools. So for example, when you go to Pre-Sec Legon, you should go and see the involvement of old students in that school. So what if let's say the PTA chairman of preset comes and says, oh, my last son had aggregate 6. Unfortunately, he was placed in a secondary school. The boy wants to go to preset. What do we do? You can't say these people shouldn't be helped. The chief of Osu, on whose land Osu preset is, you can't tell me that you will not give this honorable chief a quota for him to also bring people he wants into these schools. So the protocol allocation was brought to take care of some of these things that may emerge. Unfortunately, Ben, some people took advantage of this situation we brought just to help people, get access to these things, these schools that we talk about. And the sad part of the whole thing is that the expose that came out sought to impugn the honorable minister, which is just unfortunate.
Why do you think that?
Oh, it's unfortunate, Ben, because when you look at the adverts that ran before the premiering of the expose.
Which one specifically are you?
I'm talking about Manasseh Azuri's expose.
Right.
You see a deliberate attempt to put in the public's mind that the minister is the one behind the whole thing. Which is,
but can you look at it from that standpoint, especially when we had been speaking about the dynamics earlier?
Yes.
When it came out with, you remember there was an initial bit that spoke about the fact that people were paying.
Yes.
I mean, people who were cleaners and cooks and all of that were able to fix people and get all these sums of money paid.
Yes.
Then there was a concern about, okay, who can execute this?
Yes.
Then it came to the fore that it is only the sector minister and the GES director who have access to that. Then the next point was, who granted access? So merely putting it out there that in this instance, it was the education minister who granted access.
Yes.
For us to get to the bottom of, okay, is there a handler who a lady's name has been bandied about? Is there a handler who had access, who operated on behalf of the minister and all of that? Is that targeting the minister?
I think so, but let's.
You think so?
Yes, I mean, because look, the minister is the minister of education. Let's even say the protocol allotments just for politicians. Let's assume, without admitting that that's what there's a member of parliament who has about 236 colleagues, members of parliament. So let's say I'm the minister, Ben, you are the colleague MP. You go to your constituency, and 5 young men come with 5 sheets and say, these are our kids. We want them admission in Wesley Girls and PSEC. You pick them up, bring it to your colleague, the Honorable Minister of Education, and say, oh, Minister, can you help me with some of these protocol allocations? And so, why not? What grades did they make? Okay, they make their cut points. Let me help them. What would the minister do to know that the constituents who brought the result slips or the placement slips to you had gone to take money from people? How would the one handling the minister's account verify that Akwesi Abuaje had paid 20,000 Ghana cedis to somebody to get placement? It's so impossible. You get what I'm saying? Especially given the circumstances under which the pressure that comes with the children being in a hurry to go to school. And the minister's wish is that every child must go to school. So to impugn all this on the minister and say, oh, the minister knows something about it, it's his account and all that, for me is just malicious to say the least. But
you would also bear witness. That scenario you painted about the presentation of about 5 people and not having any foreknowledge of whether sums of money had traded hands and all of that. It's a perfect scenario. It could be, but it could also be that something else happened. I mean, so you're assuming, without confirming, that as far as those at the helm are concerned, whether it is someone handling on behalf of the minister or otherwise, it cannot be that they also may have benefited in certain ways. We don't know that.
We know that.
We don't know.
How do you know we don't? If they were, no, I mean,
do you know?
I know the work Manasseh Azuri does. If Manasseh Azuri knew that any of the people close to the minister had taken money, Manasseh would have brought it out by now. You get what I'm saying? He was able to apprehend a cleaner. Is it a cleaner or a security person who had, been involved in some of these things? So how Ben, let's be honest. Sometimes the progress and the positive aspects of the things that we have chalked at the ministry is not trumpeted. And
I admit sometimes that happens.
I mean, the sort of work this honorable minister has put, especially when it comes to the STEM education, TVET education.
Why did when you started, I just knew you'd go there.
Oh, I have to. It's unprecedented.
Right.
We have not seen such infrastructure, and even the policy behind, the brain behind, it's just out of this world. But those things are not said. The next time we see an agenda of a smear campaign against the minister, an agenda of a smear campaign against the minister has done this. Ben,
the only problem I have when this sort of approach is brought to bear, it reminds me of our Ghana Schools of Shame documentary and what we deemed the unfortunate reaction of the sector minister. Because the very good things you're speaking of, the STEM bits, in fact, recently, those that have been inaugurated and all of that, we trumpet them. Unless someone is saying they don't talk about us talk about them,
you talk about
harp on them, have discussions on them about how we can make the most out of them. So when we bring out the negatives, and all of a sudden, especially like the one we did, Ghana Schools of Shame, Pandai District, 7,000 deficit in terms of desks. I'm sure you watched the documentary.
Yes,
you saw what some of the children, things that we didn't have to go through and wouldn't want our children to go through.
That's true.
When you highlight that and you get the sort of response that we got, it becomes a bit problematic.
You see, Ben.
So I get the picture you're painting, but
of course,
credit is due where it is.
Of course, trumpeted it. You talk about it casually. Oh, yes.
Casually.
STEM schools, then that's it. Some 3 minutes, and then you can. But when it comes to the negative aspects of the stories, in fact, when I'm watching you from home, I see the happiness, the enthusiasm. It's like, Charlie, we got them. This is it.
Really?
Oh, come on. Maybe sometimes you also watch yourself.
Really?
And it tells that, you see,
So that's how you feel from watching from back home, that when we do these documentaries,
we are happy about some of the things you do. We are happy about it. You see, we have district officers, people around doing that, but sometimes just one lens can capture what 1,000 eyes can see. And we are happy about, of course, we are happy about some of these. But we are also concerned about sometimes the motive behind it. Sometimes the personalization of the matter to make it look as if the honorable minister is not performing. One of these days, we will catalog the achievements of the minister in his 3 years at the helm of affairs. And then you see the tremendous, no other minister in the Republic of Ghana has done that. And so the school placement issue is one of them. And the honorable minister has assured the public of, you play some sound bites. Yesterday I saw your people there, scrambling around for negative news. Unfortunately,
when you say your people, media people,
they came around.
So you see, but you see,
they came around. Let me finish.
This is my problem. Let
me finish.
You seem to have a perception, a mindset already from the way you are coming.
I'm a journalist myself.
I mean, they are always trying.
They told me. I spoke with some of them. Some of them are my colleagues from school. Actually, I said, this is it. The seating agreement was perfect. The parents were, within 2 minutes, you go through the process. Okay. Some before they exited the hall had notifications that their placement had been done. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So it's a smooth. But let's not forget that this is a human institution. Errors will come. You remember some time ago, people massed up at the, what do you call it?
Black Star Square.
The Black Star Square. Independence Square. Since then, have you seen such a situation again? And if you be very honest with yourself, issues of school placement is gradually dwindling. The negative stories around school placement is gradually dwindling. If not for this expose, we would have had a school placement that no one would have even heard about because the systems are working. The people there will attest to the fact that you see, unscrupulous people in Ghana, people will always be lingering around for opportunities to be corrupt. That's why
a system must ensure that the possibility of access to same is as minimal as possible.
I agree with you 100%, and that's why we are happy.
Because we know that one in any human institution, it's not just Ghana, it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
If opportunity makes the thief, right? So if the opportunities are there, some Konimo will want to take advantage of it.
And I'm happy you have mentioned that. That's notwithstanding. The ministry, even before the expose came, heard rumors about things like that. We had people come to report to us. In fact, I called one of your reporters when I personally caught one of the guys last year.
When you say one of the guys,
who were
a Goro boy or something,
Goro
trying
boy.
to benefit from the process.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I realized that people mass up at the place by 6 a.m.
Wow.
hoping to catch the first seat so that they can finish quickly and go. And we report at the place 7:38. So by the time we get there, these guys will go around, assure the people of placement, take money from before we even arrive. So when I'm swamped, I'm behind the desk. You saw the story. I'm behind the desk. About 200 people are waiting to come. I won't have the time to ask you, Obiaji Usika, is somebody taking money from you? I said, where do you want to go? Also Presec. I write it, I put it down. At the end of the day, I send all the things to the IT people. They work on it.
So if someone has taken money in your name, you probably wouldn't know.
You don't even have the time to know. Your reporter should take the sort of pressure. From here, I'm going straight to the placement. It's pressure from, you can't even take calls because the people on you, mothers are crying, people are wailing.
And it's quite a chunk of people you have to deal with, 165,000. I mean, from different places. Is it that all of them are converging here or different,
they are supposed,
different places?
In all the 16 regions, we have centers. But you know, in Ghana, people think everything works in Accra. So, for example, we have somebody from Sefi, you also come all the way. She told me she had to come and sleep at the place. I saw these are issues you are concerned about.
Right.
So I won't even ask the woman. In fact, somebody said, hey, Manche, Obeya Oshenu, for all you know, she's the one who is investigating people. So I said, no. So some of these things happen. They come and you are so fixated in solving the problem. You are so fixated in getting people go to school, and that's our goal.
That's your joy, right?
To see the young people go to school. Some of them, you see them later in their schools, you go and visit, say, oh, this is a gentleman we spoke to, and that's our joy.
Yeah.
But but Ben, have you asked yourself, why would somebody decide that officials are in the hall placing people, and you decide that you want to deal with a cleaner outside the hall? Don't you think these people should
Maybe
also...
the person also doesn't even know this is a cleaner.
But they were all in.
But
they were all in there.
The person assumes, well, the person is here, the person has connections, and the people actually did the job. That's the whole thing. The job was done.
Yes, that is what the internal investigations, how they manage. You see, but there are a lot of loopholes, like I've told you. Last year, the minister was in his office himself because there were people with special cases. I remember one, the lady had grade 06, wanted Wesley girls badly. So when the mother brought...
And that's where it becomes problematic sometimes. My daughter has scored 6. Why is she not getting Wesley girls? But there are different dynamics. And sometimes they even go down to picking, looking at your percentages, striking the averages. I know.
Yes. A lot goes in. First is the grade. So if you had grade 6, I had grade 6. The computer will put all of us in the basket. Then we have the raw score. So if I had 361 and you had 340, the computer will pick me ahead of you. So on the face value, you all had a grade 6. Like I saw in your...
We may have even had all A's, but there's still going to be a further discrimination.
A tiebreaker, yes. So that's what happens. And we've spent so much time trying to explain to the public that these are the issues. Don't be in a rush. So for example, yesterday someone came to me and said, my nephew who attended Site 2 had a grade 17 is in Achimota school. Why am I with grade 8 and I'm not there? So I explained to them that, look, that's the public. This is not shrouded in secrecy. We've made it public that, look, our brothers and sisters in the public schools are going to be given 30%
allocation.
And that is not going to change. To bring the balance, to bring that equity into the system, we are going to continue to do it.
In some 10, 12 minutes, we'll be activating the phone line so we can pick your calls on some of these all-important matters to know what you are thinking about this system. Are you an affected parent? Are you an affected student or pupil? How do you feel about the process? Yesterday, we had day 1, right?
Yeah.
At the GNAT Hall. What if you went through the process, for example? We'd like to know, what was the process like? Is it as Manche is painting for us? And if it went that seamlessly, come, share with us. If you faced any problems, call, share with us. Let us know what is on your mind. And if you have any suggestions about how we can better the process as well, let us also hear from you. So we are looking at these dynamics now. Just to go back briefly to the point you are making, before we look at the numbers and what the plan is to ensure that all of them are placed. I remember back in school, in Bishop Herman, you would attest to the fact that some of our brothers who came from certain communities, some of them deprived, they may have come with aggregates that were not so high. But given the opportunity and access to the logistics and all of that, all of a sudden you saw them performing at a much higher rate. Some people were studying with lanterns, bobo. Now they had access to light and they would study like crazy. There is that scenario.
Yes.
But I also remember recently interacting with Nana Oye Bampo Ado.
Yes.
I'm sure you know her, former gender minister. And she also said that, no, we should stick to qualification. If you qualify, you get in here. So do you want to make a Bishop Herman? Do you want to make a Wesley Girls? Do you want to make a Presec? Do you want to make an Infansipim, an Opokuwari? You need to meet certain metrics. And then you get in. The segregation must be clear, but of course, we can find other means, but the way it's being handled is problematic. How do you respond to that? Very briefly, so we can get to the numbers.
I think, you see, sometimes in Ghana, we are happy about segregation. And sometimes the well-to-do people in society are very uncomfortable.
But there are positives and negatives to segregation.
Yes.
It's not all negative.
Yes, I agree. But in this instance, it's very negative. I mean, when the children, our young siblings start going to school, one of the things we also do is to monitor their process to ensure whatever is going through, they are going through the school is smooth and there are no issues and all of that. You see the sense of despisement towards some of these people. So, for example, the guy has come and is dressed in a certain way, and the rich people have separated themselves. Ben, let me use this opportunity to appeal to middle class people that, look, some of these people have not had the opportunities that we have had. And it's a wish of the president that the boy from Tumu can also come to Achimota. Last year, I saw a report on your channel where a young lady in Tamale was coming to Achimota school, and it was her first time ever in Accra. You should see the excitement written on her face. And these are the opportunities we should give to young people to also make, some of these grade A schools. So this suggestion, I beg to differ from the honorable
former gender
minister. Yes. Yes, people should perform. And like we rightly said, some of these people who come from the deprived communities with not so good grades, in quotes, come and outshine a lot of. I don't want to mention it.
No, it happens.
A lot of the people who
even at the university level. Sometimes you see them coming from deprived schools. The universities like my alma mater, the University of Ghana, also has systems of checks and balances to bring in. And you see some of them, in fact, you will see those from Gehe and with a 6 to 10, and some of these people will come with 14, but they'll whip them.
I have just one shirt and one trouser, but he's always top of the class. You see what I'm saying? They recently ended the science and maths quiz. If I tell you the amount of students who came from public schools, you'll be surprised. And in my own estimate,
I don't think I would be, because we host it right here, so we are fully aware.
Yes. Something from schools that you never saw, schools in the Western region, they go to the grade A schools, and all of a sudden they are topping the class. I know one lady, grade 17, she went to a school, top of the class. I think she was part of the Greater Accra. So she just blew everything. Her WASI results came. She wrote WASI twice. The Novdek one when she was in Form 2, and then the school WASI.
Right.
Same grades. Blew everything.
So that point firmly made. We need these checks and balances, but at the same time, we're trying to create a society where we can give opportunities. Maybe this would not just fall under inequality, going back to the discussion I had with the Ghana Statistical Service boss, but inequity and how to find those checks and balances.
Yes.
Maybe reverse discrimination in certain ways. But I want us now to look at the numbers.
Yes.
547,329 candidates.
Yes.
And then who sat the examination, and then the numbers that qualified. 372,780 candidates being automatically placed in school. That left a deficit of about 164,000.
65,600.
That's why I said just about. Yeah. When you look at the numbers, have we been able, having operated the CSSPS over time, have we been able to minimize the numbers that would require self-placement? I mean, because that in itself creates another issue, a problem, so to speak. Have we been able to deal with that, even before we talk about the numbers and how to get rid of them?
So the system is such that because it's a computerized system, we don't want to put the children in schools that they have not chosen. So you have the option to choose 6 schools. Your choices. So if after all the criteria we use in selecting schools for you, you don't meet any of them. So for example, I have aggregate 15. I choose my first choice as Wesley Girls. I want to do science. The computer places us, and I'm unable to make the cut. The computer automatically puts me in the box of my second choice. I go and compete with all the people in the second choice. I'm unable to make the cut.
Just my apologies for doing this, but we are doing this because of our viewers, the people who are watching us, eagerly watching us. Let me quickly do this, and then I'll let you make your point. My apologies for that. We have Isaac from Sunyani joining the conversation. Isaac, good morning. Hello, Isaac.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I would just say this for all of you who are watching, who may be thinking of watching. Just hold on for me, Isaac.
I'm calling from Sunyani.
Isaac, please hold on for me. Don't watch the television and be using your phone. There will be a time lag. So just listen to me on your phone. And please, when you call, just go straight to the point. We don't have too much time to expend. Isaac, go ahead.
Okay. Why is it that the government has given privileges to the public schools, and that of the private schools, they are saying they are giving them 30%. For example, they are all going to the same JSS, and we have well-trained teachers in the private the public schools.
Right.
Going to the private schools, the private schools are being taught by some of these secondary school dropouts or secondary school leavers. Yes, still, we have given 30% privileges to the public school, and that of the and they are all competing on the same paper.
Right, Isaac, point made. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. So he is saying that why give them extra privileges when in fact they are all at the same level, studying the same, syllabus or curriculum and all of that. What's your answer?
It's called a public equity policy.
Okay.
And I explained earlier that this is to ensure that there's balance in the system. We also acknowledge that the society in which we live in, the fingers are not equal. You can't tell me now that the sort of treatment, training, opportunities that exist in the private schools are similar to what we have in the public schools. Now you have well-to-do people, middle-class people who can afford, who have sent their children to have some of these extra. You can't have the same in my hometown in Ningo. You can't have the same. You can't have the same at Rara. You can't have the same at Bumbugu Yoyo. So there are people who are naturally or environmentally underprivileged. I went to the Western North region, and there was a school inside a cocoa farm. So somebody who attends a school in a cocoa farm, and the other who is at one of these top schools, you can't tell me that the situation is the same. Some of them don't even have electricity to study. So if the guy without all these facilities is able to make, let's say, grade 17, and we bring a public equity policy that says that, look, let's give these people the opportunity, 30%. We are not saying everything. And they are also Ghanaians to start with.
Right.
Right. They are not foreigners we are bringing in. They are people who are already in the basket. But I are saying, given their circumstances, given the challenges they go through to learn. When I was in Odingo DHS,
in fact, I've worked in the Pram area before.
Yes,
I remember there was this school on the stretch. I think they use yellow and green. And sometimes when you see the dynamics, it's not easy.
I had to carry my desk for my house at Awusavu straight to the school. That's about 2 kilometers walk. The one in the private school, probably the father had just put him in the SUV and driven him or her straight into the school. So the opportunities are not the same. So public equity, that's why it's equity. We are not trying to equalize. We are trying to bring a balance into the system. Isaac, please bear with us.
Let's hear from Portia, who's here in Accra. Portia, good morning.
I think it's a personal question. My daughter...
Portia, I'd appreciate it if you could just speak up a little for me.
Okay. My daughter went to Kaneshi, I would do my 1 JSS.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
she had agri 10. She chose Wesley Girls, agri, and then Ghana National. She didn't have any of her choice. They gave her her fourth choice. They wanted to do science. So now we are at the first school. We don't know what to do. They gave her diaspora girls, and they don't do science. We went to GNAT Hall, and they didn't give us anything. So we don't know what to do. Because diaspora girls don't do science. They do general art and I think business. So we went there. We couldn't get anything to do. So I was calling to find out what we can do with this situation.
Portia, thank you for sharing your concern with us. Over to you, Manje.
Now, Portia, first of all, we didn't give your daughter diaspora girls. Your daughter chose diaspora girls.
So that was one of the options, maybe the last option, the sixth option?
She said fourth choice.
Fourth option. Right.
So when they say they gave, it's as if the daughter didn't like that school. But
I think she's saying they gave because she had other options, which she was not.
No, but that's where she fell. But I understand her situation. She's using the public equity. But if you have attended a public school and had made a grade 10, she thinks at least a grade 10. So there's a special case. And
do you think something can be done for her?
Oh, of course. Last year, I was giving you an example. A lady from, I think, the Eastern region also. The mother brought her to the minister and made a case that, Minister, you talked about public equity policy. My daughter has made grade 13. She wants to go to, I think, in Fancyman or so. The minister graciously asked that the daughter be put there because to have grade 13 in a public school,
so those are some of the concessions that are made.
Yes, yes.
Let's hear from Samuel in Bolga. Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
Please go ahead with your thoughts, Sam.
Hello?
Please go ahead, Sam.
Okay, all right. Mine is a suggestion, or better we try to understand the system better.
Okay.
Why can't we have the placement system in such a way that, the less endowed schools, in those places where they cannot make it the aggregate, because we know we are in Ghana, we all know that these aggregates and stuff people buy. Of course, they buy their apport and they get it. So once you get to the university, all these things are exposed. But there are people from the villages who might get grade 16, grade 17, and might not get that grade A school. Meanwhile, that person is as brilliant as the person who is getting the grade 6, or even sometimes better. How can't we make it in such a way that at least we have some portion from those less endowed schools, mixed around, so that you cannot do it all 100%, but at least you are giving opportunity to those people to also access the grade A schools.
Thank you,
that's
Sam.
my thought.
Thank you, Sam from Bolga. But I think that's exactly what...
That's what... so you see that they are conflicting, and these policies were brought in based on research we did, and some of these concerns someone has just raised came up, especially up north. They said, look, all we ask for is that let our brothers and sisters in the public schools also have access. So that's what birthed these policies. And
especially, I think I was making mention of it to the government statistician, especially with the northern belt. I feel it's particularly problematic. We've not been fair to those in the northern belt of the country, right from pre-independence to independence. You remember educational issues and how they had been practically left out at a point, and it's simmered all through the decades. We are 66, and we are it's a fact you can't deny. I'm not. So it is good. It is good that we give some concessions in that way to allow them to catch up.
It's helping. It has changed the face of the public schools. Now the young people are aware that a little bit of effort in the academics, and they'll find themselves those days. One of the things that discourage them. That's look, no matter what you do, you are not going to make it.
You will not make it.
You will find yourself in one of the local schools around. So it's like, well, that's what it has been. But this policy has been a game changer. It has changed the dynamics, and visit some of the public schools. Of course, not schools of shame. This should be schools of fame, and see how good some of these public schools. And let's also commend the teachers in these public schools giving extra. I met one of the teachers who was preparing, I think, about 30 or 32 students, and at dusk, around 4, she had gone to freshen up to go back to school with the young people for free. She said sometimes she even gives them the mash cake, what do you call it? Ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake.
Yes.
Right.
So that just to motivate the young people to come, not to go to the fast, but come for extra tutor for free. So let's commend the teachers in the public schools who are also doing a tremendous job to make sure our young people do well in school and have access to the grade A schools.
Let's pick a caller from Hacho. Odote. Odote, a very good morning to you.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm a pensioner, and my pension baby has worked so hard.
Right.
And got aggregate 9.
Aggregate 9?
Aggregate 9, yes.
Which school?
She had 1 in mathematics, 1 in science, and 1 in English, and then aggregate 9.
Which school did she attend?
Oh, she went to Sandys. It's a private school near my place.
Okay.
And they did not even give her the first choice, second choice, third choice. They give her 4th choice in the Volta region, Agbakope.
I see.
So she's so down, she hasn't even eaten since, she had that information.
Mm.
She worked very, very hard. I mean, you can imagine.
Wow, that must be frustrating. What are the schools she chose? Her first 3 options. Which schools were they?
She chose Bray Girls, Mountain, Methodist Girls, Achimota.
So there's Abugis and there's what?
Abugis and then the Megis, Methodist Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Agri Memorial.
Agri Memorial.
And
wow, that is quite a. Okay, but have you gone for? So she was given her 4th choice. So for her, she doesn't need self-placement. She was given her 4th choice, but
yes.
Yours is disappointment with the system.
Yes, exactly. Because aggregate 9, I don't see how she couldn't get into.
There are considerations, but what program did she want to read?
She wants to do science, general science.
General science.
Yeah, she wants to be a aircraft pilot and this is so she really working hard to become a pilot and an aircraft engineer.
Mm.
You see,
interesting situation. Odote, thank you so much. At least I think we have a full grasp of it. We want to leave the minutes left so we can pick a lot more callers. This is another tricky situation.
Yes, it is. So my brother Odote can come to the GNAT Hall and all these issues. That's why we are at the GNAT Hall.
Okay.
To resolve. So the child shouldn't be in despair. She shouldn't worry. She should feel free, eat. Just come to the GNAT Hall and his grievances will be resolved.
Odote, so if you're watching us, that is the conclusion. Manche says, just come to the GNAT Hall. You could do so today. I mean, if...
We are there now.
They are there now. And likely you could, I don't want to say go and look for him.
No, you don't have to look for me.
But you could speak to any of those involved and they would see what can be done. We have Omaru in Ejura. Omaru, good morning. Please go straight to the point. Shoot.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Umaru, please go ahead.
All right, sir. Please, I have a ward who had his last choice. I had a ward who had his last choice, but the issue is that he wants a technical school. In fact, all the 5 choices that he made are all technical schools, but the last one, because he has to choose a school within his own jurisdiction, he chose that one. So the point is that you want him to get the technical school because that's where he wants to go.
But did he choose a technical school?
Yeah, all the 5 schools that he chose, the 5 schools that he chose are all technical schools.
So the 6th one was not a technical school?
Exactly.
And that's the one he got?
Yeah.
What was the aggregate?
He had 23.
23. Which school?
Edraman Senior High.
Edraman Senior High. All right, thank you, Umaru. Edraman Senior High, I think this would be one of the public institutions.
Yes. And he wants to go to a technical school.
That's where he has gone.
Umaru should just go to the, what do you call it? The regional office, the GES regional office, and just tell them what his problem is. They will immediately effect the changes for him.
GES regional office. Umaru, if you are listening, GES regional office.
Just go there. There are people there to see to his challenge. You should just tell them the technical school, is it a he or she?
I think it's a he.
Yes. Just go there tell them if there's still vacancy in those schools, they will still, but there are about 212 TVET schools, so it shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay. We still have a few more minutes, about 2 or 3 minutes. If you have any concerns, you can share them with us. We have another caller shortly. After I take this call, I want us to look at how you're going to, what the plan is to clear, Manche, to clear this backlog of 165,000 across the regions, but I know the focus is on the greater Accra region.
Yes.
And how much time you've given yourself, because the students are already,
Yes.
getting into school. It's pretty frustrating for those who haven't made it, what the plan is. We had a caller, Peter from Tamale. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
Peter, we can hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead, briefly.
Okay, yeah, my name is Peter from Tamale. My niece had aggregate. Yes, my name is Peter from Tamale. My niece had aggregate 28, and she has not been placed in any of her choices, even the last
aggregate what?
She chose.
28.
And the self-placements available are all outside Tamale, and they are day schools also.
So the self-placement options are outside Tamale and they are day schools. All right. Peter, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. So you see his concern. Maybe Tamale, depending on where the person is in Tamale, it could be deprived or not. It could be, but then at the same time, the placements that are, the options are outside Tamale. And that could also pose constraints, finances, access and all of that. What would you prefer for Peter?
So Peter should just go to the GES office.
Regional office.
The officers there ready to listen to Peter and his problems will be solved. I want to let the public know that we are here for them. Their problems are what we have set up the solution centers to resolve. So there should be no panic at all. So Peter, right from here, just walk straight to the GES office in Tamale. Tell them your problem and it will be resolved. And the reopening date has been set for 20th, but we still have a week period to orientation and all that. So 27th is where the GS director has said that classes will officially begin. So let them not be any panic. Until the last person goes to school, we were not leaving the solution center at NATO and all the 16 regions. We are there for them. They should just be focused. They should just not panic. Come and your problems will be resolved. There are so many schools in Ghana, and every ward will have an opportunity to.
So are you giving a guarantee right here that these 165,000 by the 27th, when classes are set to begin, all of them would have got placements?
I can't give that assurance. However, we are there all the time too. There's also a call center. So Peter and all the other people can decide to just call the call center and their details will be taken and it will be worked on for them, if I can quickly. So the number is 0308 25 8001.
0308
25 8001.
All right. I think we'd have to put that number on the screen so that people can...
They can call the call center.
That's the call center, for what? The GES?
Or CSSPS call center. So whether you want a TVET school, a GES school, whatever school you want to go, you just call the call center. Whether you want to change from day to board and from boarding to day, any challenge you have at all, when you call, they will take your details and then forward it to the IT team to work on it for you.
So 0308 25 8001. 0308 25 8001. Let's take Evans from Sampa. Good morning, Evans.
Good morning, sir.
What are your concerns, please?
It's a suggestion, though. I think parents should really be educated on the schools of choice. Because some happened to me. In my case, my parents, my dad made me choose a school, which was actually a hostel. But later, I had that school as a second choice, and he also said because it's a hostel school, he wouldn't allow me to go. But he knew. So I think when some of the parents are educated on such matters with regards to selecting schools, you don't choose schools you don't want for your child, because some of them called with fourth choice, which they choose, and still that has been a problem. So I think if such issues could be addressed with the parents before selecting of the school, some of these problems can be solved. And that is my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. As far as the TVET schools, though, I know, there's a push to get more people because no economy builds. I always mention Germany, Switzerland, wherever. They build on their technical, skilled people, not so much on those who are sitting in offices doing other things. What's the arrangement when it comes to TVET at this level, transitioning to the secondary level?
Yes, so before they chose the schools, before the school selection process, we went around the country and encouraged parents that this is the way to go. There are 212 TVET institutions dotted around the country, well equipped with state-of-the-art equipment. And we've recruited more trainers.
The other day, the CTVET boss came and,
he told you all of that, right?
You see how you didn't know that.
I watched. And thank you very much for
when we do those parts.
No, we appreciate it. Yes, so we are encouraging parents, especially those who have had grammar schools now. In fact, it's very easy to change from a grammar school to a TVET school. So I'm encouraging them that this is the way to go. We have very good programs for their kids. And the good thing about TVET is that whilst even the young man or young woman is in school, they can begin to make some money for themselves and fend for themselves throughout their education in the TVET school. So we are encouraging parents. It's all the same. We are all at the CSSPS center, the same call. Just tell them, I had a grammar school, but I want to change to a TVET school. You mentioned the school you want. If there is still vacancy, your ward will be placed there as soon as possible.
All right. I think we'll be concluding the conversation shortly, but we have Pawili joining us from Kintampo, and then maybe we'll take your reaction and your final comments. Pawili, good morning. Hello, Pawili.
Yeah, Ben, good morning.
Good morning, what are your thoughts for us?
Yeah, so my mind is just a little worried. These kids were registered by either the schools or in some regions, you have districts where they have selected ICT coordinators to assist. So I'm thinking, why is GS not thinking of using those ICT coordinators at the district offices? So a child wouldn't travel from Ijuaman to Kumasi just to have a placement.
Right.
Look at the cost. The parents live there where they should have been selling and putting the kids around, but the children are registered in their district. So, Mr. Manche, assuming you are a field officer, you wouldn't have been at this center. You would have been on the field. So I'm thinking, let's distribute work, and everybody is free. That's my first point. Then the CSSPS, I don't know. You know what happened then? Before the students select schools, after they finish exam, they've gone home, then they start putting flyers about how to select school, but the kids are not even in school. They finish exams, some have gone back to wherever they are coming from, so the heads will have to be contacting parents to mention schools. Why can't we do this? The education, when the kids are in school. So even if they had completed, they can still come back with their kids and select school, and all these problems wouldn't have been happening because you say, parents, they gave me school, but they chose their school. But there's something that last year, they brought a situation where you select school A, the school is in category of other schools. If you opt in, it means that if you don't miss your school A, then you are likely to give you all the other schools or any of the other schools in that category that you have selected.
Right.
Most parents didn't understand. They were choosing yes. They don't even know the schools in that group. And these are the reasons why I think the GES, the CSPS, it should be up and doing. Let the education start way ahead. If you look at it, placement is coming out, and then they are now putting calculation centers.
Right.
I think let's be working ahead of time.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. That'll be our final caller on this beat, at least as far as this conversation is concerned. Should we activate the phone lines later, you could chip in again. But Manje, so your reaction to this, and then the final plan as far as
I think the suggestions are welcome. The district officers are not left out of this. Yes, but where you can have resolution as quickly as possible, but you can still go to your district. The district officers are there. They work with the senior high schools. They are there. The Free SHS Secretariat is there. They can always walk into those offices. But the assurance is that every child will go to school, and they shouldn't even bother themselves to go to the district offices. That's why I've given the call center number. When they call, it's coming. It's coming straight to the office in Accra. They'll take their details, and then it's worked on. They don't even have to come to GNAT Hall, because we said about 50 people are sitting there ready to receive their complaints and all that. So if you are listening to me, take advantage of the call center numbers that we have shared. I think it's displayed on the screen. If you just call, people will listen to them, take their complaints, and whatever grievances they have will be dealt with.
Manje, any final words, or is that it?
Yes, just to assure them that this is a very free, transparent process. Nobody should be forced to pay any monies. When you go to the GNAT Hall, the officers in charge are on tags. You see them with their tags and their names boldly written on it. You don't have to deal with any security person, any cleaner, nobody. If you don't want the burden of coming to the GNAT Hall, the phone lines are open 24/7. Just call 0308 258001 and your concerns will be addressed.
Thank you so much for having joined us this morning. It's been a lot of education, and we can only wish you the very best as you go through this process with the 165,000 plus.
Thank you very much.
Manche Akwete is PRO of the TVET service, and he joined us here for a conversation. Do stay with us, because after this, I'm going to be serving you my blunt thoughts. You know how I do it. Hot every Friday morning. And right after that, should we have the time, we'll take more interactivity from you on the other issues we've been discussing. Do stay with us on the AM show. We'll be right back.